Testing, testing. Just testing the audio for the show, guys. Testing, testing, testing.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? This is Franklin, the man, the myth, the legend.
Alright, guys, I just want to
Everybody
make
in
sure that
chat,
you
can
can
you hear
hear
me?
both me
Can
and
you hear me talking?
Frankie. Sort of
Yep,
important.
they hear me. Thank you, guys.
Sweet. They can hear us both. Alright, we're starting right on time today, guys, but I will not be in the show, just running it.
Yes, sir. Wonder why you're getting an echo. Jeff usually uses a headset. bad. I was in Tahoe till like last night. Yeah, yeah, Tahoe was a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah. I learned how to play craps. I know, I know. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah. No, it was fun. I played blackjack with $20 and it lasted me like 2 hours. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. You're like, well, that didn't work. All right. God. Jesus. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I actually like Tahoe better than Vegas for like a bachelor party. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, it was fun. We went to the club. That was ridiculous. Opal. It's in what is it in? It's in the blue whatever the casino's called. But yeah, no, it was fun. My buddy's brother-in-law bought us all bottle service. He ordered like 3 bottles. He was like going crazy. It was fun at that club though, because our little like roped off area was right in the middle of the dance floor, so it was like perfect. We were just like giving out drinks and stuff, so people were coming in and out. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's definitely overpriced. Yeah, yeah. There's no way. It's so expensive. It's like $1,000 or something. Yeah, yeah. Looks like we have like 4 minutes. Yeah, yeah. I have no idea why you guys are getting that echo on Saturday. It must have been the labs were too close or something like that. Yeah. No, that's awesome. We should we should get because we could get announcers to Skype in on Tuesdays to get people that were consistent. But yeah, there. Yeah, uh, that's pretty cool. Well, well, they could just watch it on Twitch, and then they have the 30-second delay, but they're watching it at the same time everybody else is. They can shoutcast it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, saving the princess. Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons. Ominous. Bondage and Draco Reptilian. You're like, yeah, you're looking for a path. It's a hidden path. You go save the wilderness. Yes. D and D. Dude, we were up till like 5 at the casino, and then we woke up at 9. It's like, oh god. Your sound was working earlier, wasn't it? Is your mic on?
Check. Me, and then you couldn't?
Save reads. Now they can hear you. Or they can't. One day we'll get this right.
To be fair, guys, trying to get
But you know what's funny about it is our podcast has always been kind of like this, so it's really nothing new.
it's bizarre that it was working and then it stopped.
Blame Obama. Jesus.
Check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Check. Check. Okay, can you guys hear me? Do I need to go to interpretive dance? Yes, I do look like Jason Statham. That is my doppelganger.
Surprise.
I get that all the time. All right, are we good? Hey guys, I don't know what the hell happened. We had sound, we went live, and then we lost sound. So, technology. Quiet.
Yeah, I'm raising it right now.
Okay. No, you guys are right. There's no excuse for it. We went early to do a sound check, and then it was working, and then we hit go, and then it stopped working. So, okay. Hopefully they're turning up the gain. Hopefully that fixes it. The reason I'm wearing a headset and a microphone, besides trying to be extra cool, is because I need to hear Frankie because he's Skyping in.
What's up, guys?
He's not actually in the room. He is in Northern California.
Hey, by the way, who posted that Facebook thing about who's more dateable? Frankie or Reese?
That would be our good friend Jeff in Control Robinson.
Good Lord.
Yes. Who made him an admin on the Facebook page?
Yeah, who did
Bad
that?
call. Bad call.
Poor choices.
Okay. Well, we're going to roll with it because it looks like it is working. Hey everybody, welcome to Signals from the Frontline, here every Monday and Friday. Videocast live on Twitch, also on YouTube, and podcast on iTunes. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, brought to you by frontlinegaming.org, your home for 10 to 25% off of hobby goodies. We also sell and distribute the awesome Fat Mats, and we run tabletop gaming conventions all around the United States. We love games. How's everybody doing today? And if you hear a disembodied voice, no, it is not the ghost of Christmas past or present. It's our good friend Franklin the Turtle joining us from Northern California. Frankie, how you doing?
I'm doing well, guys. I'm doing great. I think I'm inside your Titan. He's absorbed me.
Here's Frankie. Let's drop the top so that I can get a look at you, buddy.
There you go.
So everybody that's joined us on Twitch, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to talk to everybody. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into the news. So big news. The new and awesome Ghost Keel model is up for pre-order. That means there's 25% off of retail at frontlinegaming.org. Please send in your order to orders@frontlinegaming.org or call in 888-781-5120. Talk to the lovely Raw Dogger himself. He's so much man, you might not be able to handle it, but he will take your order over the phone, and we'll get you your new Tau suit in the mail. Franklin, I got to tell you, I'm such a big fan of the new Tau suits. Holy crap, they're amazing. Yeah. They're so good.
Yeah, the new suits are incredible.
Yeah.
The Storm Surge was awesome. The new Ghost Keel is incredible.
It really is.
I cannot wait to see what else they're going to produce.
We'll get to that in the rumor section. There's some pictures floating around that are just equally incredible. But this is an exciting release. If you're a Tau player, if you're a 40K player, this is an exciting release. And we've got two brand new units we've never seen before. The Ghost Keel is huge. It's bigger than a Riptide. It's their Lord of War and their Codex, as we predicted. And the Ghost Keel itself, the Storm Surge is, the Ghost Keel is a really cool kind of like equivalent of a Demon Prince Monstrous Creature stealth suit. I think it's going to be a really good unit in the game. And the miniature is absolutely brilliant. And one of the things I'm really excited about too is the new videos that they're putting up on their YouTube channel and that they're posting on their homepage for Games Workshop, showing off the new models but having some like digital effects overlaid on it. It's just really cool. It's neat to see them jumping in and utilizing the resources that they have to make these models look as cool as possible on their front page.
Yeah, Games Workshop's just really stepping up their game in most aspects. But the models, they're just taking them to the next level.
They're not stepping up
Nobody's
their
going to catch
game
up to them.
with the game, but in every other
But in
aspect.
a lot of aspects, they are. The models are looking great. Their website's really coming along. And like you said, they're posting more videos up on YouTube and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
Me too. Just remember when they first launched their YouTube channel? How terrible the video. They were the worst videos. It was like a joke. It was like, you gotta be kidding me. And I think it was because they were so regulated about what they could actually show that they had their hands tied. And it feels like they've kind of relaxed a little bit about being so like crazy about like being afraid of the internet. I think it seems like they're embracing it a little bit more. And it shows. The new videos are cool. They have like they're actually fun to watch. It's not like a bad joke. It's not like comedy. Now it's like enticing. It makes me want to get these models. So very excited. If you want to pre-order your Ghost Keel, get your order in, and anything else that's up on the pre-order section of Games Workshop's page also qualifies for the 25% off. Don't forget, if you do pre-order anything, you get 5% off the rest of your order also. So if you want any other goodies, including non-GW items like Privateer Press, Infinity, etc., that also triggers the extra 5% off. So get your orders in, and we would be happy to hook you up.
Sweet.
So the most exciting news right now, what most people are probably tuned in waiting to hear about, are the results of the third quarter ITC update poll. So we got the results in. Everybody voted over the course of a week. The poll ended Sunday evening yesterday, and we tabulated all the results. I'll go ahead and write an article about it, give some of my analysis for anybody that gives a rat's behind. But just the nuts and bolts, we'll go over the results themselves. So here we go. We had 1,258 people vote, which was quite a few. Didn't have as many questions this quarter as we normally do because we had the Summer of Sigmar, so we didn't have as much stuff to talk about. And the way we tabulate, the way that we aggregate which questions are pertinent, we go off of our feedback questionnaire form, which is up on the ITC tab of the frontlinegaming.org homepage. So let your voice be heard. Send any of your rules questions in to that, or just give us any feedback about the ITC. We read all of it, and then we look at that, and we just aggregate all the data. And the things that come up the most frequently are the things that we typically going to present to the community to be voted on. Things that only come up once, or maybe even twice, we kind of brush it aside because it's something that's not, we answer the question to the people who wrote it, but it's not something that's pertinent to the community as a whole. So if you feel like a question should have been on this that wasn't, you got to make your voice heard because we can't read your mind, right? And that's how we go about it. So the questions that we had this time: should we use Forge World experimental rules in the ITC? Why does this come up? Well, for one, there's people who've been waiting for literally years to use their models, but also Forge World is telling people in emails, yeah, use them. Like they're not experimental rules in the way we originally meant it, meaning that we haven't decided if these are the official rules or not. They're saying experimental rules means now that it's simply not in an official publication. But they're saying, yes, these are official rules in the terms that we mean for you to use them in your games of 40K. So we put it to the community for a vote. Unsurprisingly, yes, let experimental in, won by a humongous margin. 877 people voted yes, 388 people voted no. It was a 60 or a 70-30 ratio. That's called a landslide victory, my friends.
Yeah. No, I'm really happy about that one. That one's really exciting.
Me too. I've been wanting to use experimental rules forever. We just never did because in the past they would change them.
Yeah.
Right? And now they're not doing that anymore. So if you want to use your Xiphon Interceptor, if you want to use your Daradeo Dread, Tau players, finally, you want to use your Ravarna, the awesome Riptide alternatives, the Yavarna and the Ravarna, the Hazard suits, you can use them. You want to use your Chaos Knight, which I think is going to be fairly popular.
Yeah.
You're good to go. Tons of experimental units, and all of them, the rules are available for free on Forge World's website. So these are the argument is like, oh, it's too much rules, it's too hard to get, the books are expensive. The experimental rules are actually the most accessible rules in the game. You just go download them right off of the PDF section of Forge World's website. So get excited, especially for Tau players. This is exciting because they're getting their new book in the next week or two, and they're getting to use all the suits that have been sitting on their desk for years now. And this is going to be a big kind of a double whammy for Tau, a positive double whammy. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for Tau. I think you're going to be seeing a lot more Tau arms out there. So
I think the Forge World is going to be getting a lot of email orders in the next couple weeks here. I think a lot of Chaos Knights are going to be coming and a lot of Tau suits. So that's really cool. Definitely excited to see that. I know with my Corn Demonkin list, I've been trying to finalize. I decided I wanted to put a Chaos Knight dedicated to Corn in there because he benefits from the Blood for the Blood God rule. And that knight can rack up some serious blood tithe. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I don't think I'm the only person going to be doing that either.
No, that's not.
Yeah, next question on the poll. Should we allow the Tau Storm Surge suit to be taken in units as it is indicated in the data slate? So in the past, we only allowed people to take a single super heavy or gargantuan creature Lord of War. And the only exception we made to that was Imperial Knights, so that you could continue to field an Imperial Knight army. The Tau Storm Surge is only the second time we've ever seen a unit of super heavies, and so we had to present it to the community. Should we make an exception to the rule? And it did win, yes, 737 votes, no, 524 votes. It was a 60-40 split. Once again, the community votes to benefit. The community does not vote to screw their neighbor. One of the biggest complaints you hear people online say is that you shouldn't vote on rules because people are only ever going to vote to benefit their own faction or hurt another person's faction, thereby benefiting themselves. And it's just not true, right?
Yeah, because I mean, clearly we don't have 737 Tau players in the ITC.
Yeah, it's not. The ITC is not 60% Tau, right? Yeah. So it's simple. It's very simple logic, right? Like we're never ever going to sit here and tell you we understand why every person votes the way that they do. It's impossible. But we can tell you simple logic tells us that if people always voted in their self-interest, you would need, then anytime you had a vote like this to help a single faction, it would never pass, right? Because you would need more than half the people to vote for it. And since more than half, in this instance, 60% of the people voted to help them out, and we know not 60% of the people in ITC are Tau players, it disproves that. And then every time this happens, it exponentially further shows that people don't vote to screw their neighbor. They vote to help their neighbor almost every single time. So if you're a Tau player, very cool. You can take your Storm Surge. You can take a single unit of Storm Surges. And if you want to take more than one, go for it. Frankie, what's your opinion? Do you think the Storm Surge is even going to be better in a unit of 2, or do you think it's not even worth it for the points?
Yeah, I think you're going to be seeing a lot of them in units of 2. It just makes it that much more powerful. And I think 1's great. I think 2 is definitely better. And I don't think 3, I think that's too many points. I don't even know if you'll be able to fit that in the list. But I'm thinking most people are going to be taking 2 because it's just so much firepower. They can shoot so many different targets. And they have so many shots that they'll pretty much wipe out whatever they're going to be shooting at. So
yeah, I think it's going to be very, very powerful. But I think one of the things that other people have noted is that is it really doing anything that Tau don't already do? Right? Like, would you rather take 1 Storm Surge and a Fire-based Cadre? I think I would lean in that direction because it gives you more versatility. And the other thing that was pointed out to us that I missed on my first read-through of the Storm Surge's rules is that he can't deploy his high heals. He can do it on the first turn, but it doesn't take effect until the second turn. So you don't get a massive, insane Alpha Strike with a unit of 2. And I agree, 2 is going to be probably what you see the most frequently, 1 or 2. It's more of a beta strike. Like, yeah. But since they're gargantuan creatures, they can shoot all their weapons and each one at a different target. So once they get warmed up, so to speak, they're going to be putting out an ass whipping across the table.
Yeah, and I mean, even if they put their heels down, with 2 of them, I mean, you're still getting the firepower of 1 with its heels down. So, I mean, you're really not missing out that much. And then the next turn, you just have a ridiculous amount of firepower.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you brought up some good points before when we were talking about it. It's like if you take 1 unit, all it takes is like 1 grav unit. And you're like, and here's a shit ton of damage. So yeah. It makes it easier to take them out. You can lock them in combat with 1 unit. I mean, I don't think the unit's going to be that big of a deal, but it's going to have a lot of firepower.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be better than people think because online everyone's poo-pooing it. And just like we were wrong about the Crusader Knight, the shooting Imperial Knight, turns out it's probably the best one.
That's the one.
Yeah, and everybody underestimated Imperial Knights at first. Everybody underestimated Wraith Knights at first, not obviously the new version, because it's got the big price tag. But the amount of firepower and how durable it is, I think the Storm Surge is going to be a key part of the new Tau strategy. Now, the thing that I'm most curious about seeing in the new Tau book is how marker lights work, because that's going to have a big impact. Also, how do they deal with Death Stars? Because that's still the one thing that limits Tau. Tau would be a top-tier army by a mile if it wasn't for the fact that they really struggle to deal with Death Stars. Because a lot of the hyper-powerful Death Stars came about as a result of Tau firepower. It was one of the only ways to get an assault unit across the table and into them. And then we found that, okay, not only does it work, it really works. They just end up getting steamrolled. So that's the thing that I want to see. Like, how do Tau deal with some of these really gnarly Death Stars out there? If they have an answer for that, they're going to be top tier. If not, I think they're going to be relegated to second tier, but still very good, very good. I can't wait to see them on the table. We have a Storm Surge here in the studio. We're going to have one of our friends put it together. And as soon as that book drops, you know that you'll be seeing us putting him on the tabletop. And big thanks to Troy Cadriff, who let us borrow his Tau army. So,
yeah.
Last question for the poll. And this was the topic that got brought up most in our feedback. So, should we treat Blood Angels, Space Wolves, and Dark Angels as having chapter tactics for the purposes of causing Space Marine units to lose their chapter tactics when they all combine together in a Super Friends unit? And this one was really close. I wrote that wrong on the notes, my apologies. It should be leave it raw, won 663 votes, change it, lost 524 votes. I put it backwards on there. I apologize, and there's probably people out there pulling their hair out. I'll have to change that really quickly. But so no,
it's the other way around.
I wrote that wrong. I apologize.
I was gonna say, okay.
Frankie, do you want to jump in there and change that on your end?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to confuse people. So we've voted to maintain the status quo. Your Super Friends Death Star is not changing. I apologize that I wrote that backwards on there. So yeah, people voted to leave it as it is. So, but it was very close. It was a 5% variance.
Yeah, I voted to leave it as is.
Yeah.
So.
It was really close. I mean, it was as you can tell, it was a matter of 80 votes. So it was very, very close.
Yeah, super close.
All right, so we got some new releases coming out. Puppets War reveals some new alternate heads for 28mm models, and these look pretty badass, as you can tell.
Looks sick.
Yeah, Norse-themed Thor. These would be really, really cool for obviously Space Wolves, but I'm sure you could come up with a lot of different uses for these. Puppets War makes some really neat stuff. Definitely give these a look if you are looking to spice up some of your armies and make them look very unique. Head swaps are the easiest thing you can do to make your army look unique, and it really jumps out at people because the head and the face of a model is usually the focal point.
Yeah, no, I really dig them. I think Puppets War makes a lot of really cool stuff. Unfortunately, their prices are usually kind of hefty.
Yeah, they are. It's all hand cast resin, but they're really high quality, so you do get what you pay for. But yeah, they are not cheap. It's like Forge World, prices. Weird previews a new model this week. It is called the Guild Hound. When I first looked at this model, I thought he had like a doggy cone.
I know.
When a dog has surgery. And then I looked at it, I was like, oh no, that's like armor for his throat, so that another dog doesn't kill him.
Yeah, he's fighting in those dog pits.
Yeah. Who's that football player? Michael Vick.
Yeah, Michael Vick.
This is Michael Vick's dog.
Terrible.
Oh, that's bad joke.
But no, it's a cool looking model.
It is.
I actually really like it.
Yeah, it is really cool. It reminds me of the old Cyber Mastiff for Adeptus Arbites, the cyborg dog. That thing was badass.
No, that's a really cool model. Weird's really just killing it right now.
They have extremely high quality plastics. Yeah, they jumped into the plastics game and they did it well.
Yep.
We have a new release from Infinity. It's a resculpt of with updated rules for Airborne Ranger Captain Van Zant. This is a badass model. Infinity doesn't miss. They only make badass models, but this one, I really, really dig this. I might actually get one of these to use as a Catachan character because he looks perfect for it.
Yeah.
But he's a United States Airborne Ranger Captain with a robot hand, an axe, and a pistol in space. Nothing in that sentence didn't get me excited.
The only thing is the axe is not big enough. I mean, let's be honest.
Not big enough.
A hatchet with like a 3-foot handle.
I think that's awesome.
It's a little tiny hatchet.
It doesn't make any freaking sense at all.
Not at all.
They're like, this guy is so badass. He jumps out of a plane into enemy territory, and all he brings is a fireman's axe and a pistol. Okay.
It's like that dragon movie. He jumps off with the axe.
Oh my God, the worst. How did that movie suck? It was Christian Bale, Matthew McConaughey, and Matthew McConaughey jumps into a dragon's mouth with an axe, literally jumps into his mouth and gets eaten.
Yep.
I was like, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
This guy actually looks a lot like Matthew McConaughey's character.
He does. Hopefully he's less suicidal than Matthew McConaughey was in that movie. That didn't make any sense to me. Toughest Girls in the Galaxy show off a picture of a new model, Crash and the Beasts. So this is in their basically Dark Eldar line, and she's basically a Beastmaster. But again, absolutely brilliant model. I've got my first Toughest Girls in the Galaxy models on the way, and I will be adding them to my Catachan army Really excited to get them, and I can't wait to show them off to everybody. And we will be picking up this line very soon, so you guys can pick it up in our web cart.
Dude, this model's sick. It's
badass.
It's like Ghostbusters. It's the gatekeeper and the keymaster.
Oh, are you Zogart?
Yeah. Are you the gatekeeper?
Oh, I can't remember what the name was.
I don't remember what their name was, but
Yeah.
dude, this model's sick.
She's got like a pimp cape. I don't know
She
what's
looks like
going on with those dogs. I don't know. I like it though. It's good stuff.
That's sick.
We got a new release from Privateer Press, a new Retribution unit, the House Vire Electromancers.
Ooh.
I really like Retribution models. They're like super hardcore manga anime style elves, and I really like the aesthetic of the army. Very, very different from everything else in War Machine. And these are a very cool unit, and obviously, as the name suggests, they're masters of electricity. So, if you're, yeah, right, Electromancers, who would have guessed? I dig it. I think they look really cool, and if you are a Retribution player, you may want to pick some of these up.
I don't think they'll ever stand up to the Lumbermancer, though. I mean, a Lumbermancer is just way more badass.
Kino Khan's character in our Pathfinder campaign, the human that was raised by gnolls and was a Lumbermancer, controlled wood. It was amazing. His character was actually pretty good.
So legendary.
It was, man. That shit was funny. And the picture that he chose for the guy, too. Oh, that was good stuff. It was surprising how useful he came and how in handy he came. Because it was like, you're in a dungeon, the door is locked. He's like, is it made of wood? I'm like, yeah. Oh, shit. He's like, okay. I just open it. I'm like, damn it. All right. So I'm always on the lookout for weird stuff in the miniatures gaming industry. I saw this over at Fayette 212. There's a Kickstarter going on for a game called Panzerfaust, and it's an alternate history fantasy World War II game. So it's World War II, but with every country instead being represented by a classic high fantasy race. So pretty cool, right? Like the Germans are dwarves, which if you think about it, kind of fits, right? Like they're precision engineering. They like things to be orderly, a little stubborn. You know, a lot of my German friends kind of fall, you know, if they were going to be anything in the fantasy realm, I would say that dwarves would probably fit, you know? And I mean that as a compliment for any German listeners that hear that. So that's pretty cool. And then there's like gnomes, orcs. The orcs are British. I thought that was kind of interesting. I was like, I wonder, because yeah, I know there's gnomes and stuff. It's really creative, and it's a mashup of classic aesthetic qualities or themes in our industry, but it's kind of combined in a unique way. So check it out if it's something that interests you. I thought it was pretty neat. So
I wonder what they're going to make the humans or the Americans.
I don't know. I thought it looks like it's a French company that made it, so they'll probably make themselves something cool like elves, which, to be fair, it kind of fits, right? You know, very stylish. And
they'll make us like wargs or something.
Us, yeah, we'll probably be like
big people.
I'll probably pick the humans like, yeah, something not flattering, I'm sure, but that's okay. We'll see how it goes. But I thought it was a kind of a neat idea and definitely something worth checking out. So we have some upcoming ITC events all this weekend, October 17th and the 18th. We've got Gamers Paradise October ITC event in Prairie View, Louisiana, Ragnarok in Utland Sorlandsenteret in Norway. I nailed that one. Sorlandsenteret.
Sorlandsenteret.
I'm sure that our friends in Norway are laughing hysterically at how poorly I pronounced that. There's letters in there I don't even recognize, to be fair. So we've also got a Warhammer 40K Singles ITC tournament in Vista, California, and Jolt Games ITC tournament in Mitchell, the Australian Capital Territory, and those are all happening this weekend. Cool seeing how many ITC events we've now got in Australia, Northern Europe. Just really neat to see it growing. So good luck to everybody. Can't wait to get those results back. Check it out if you want to get some more ITC points.
Okay.
Rumors. The rumor section is gathered from the web and is not in any way information we receive from any manufacturer, nor is it necessarily accurate. This section of the podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only. Frankie, we got some pictures floating around the interwebs. I don't know if you've had a chance to see them since you were partying up there in Tahoe. The new Fire Warriors are floating around, as well as the new Tau terrain, and it looks sick.
Dude, they look amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for the new Fire Warrior box.
They
They've had
look
that tank
good.
Fire Warrior box forever.
You know, though, I like the old Fire Warrior box. I didn't think it needed to be replaced personally, but then looking at the new models, there's so much more detail on them. They look really cool. There's some minor aesthetic changes, like I think the helmet has a little bit more detail, like a little bit more like high-tech looking features. And there's now 2 different units you can make. There's the strike team and breachers, and they have different weapons. So the rumor is that it's 10 to a box, as opposed to it used to be 12, if I remember correctly. There's a DS8 support turret that comes in that can give you a smart missile system or another weapon system. I think it was the single fire missile.
The Seeker missile.
Seeker missile, thank you. And it comes with 2 drones, and then you can either make the strike teams with pulse rifles or pulse carbines, and then the breachers come with pulse blasters.
Pulse blasters.
Yeah. The pulse blaster is a weapon that's a different rule at different ranges, and it gets, if I remember correctly, it's more powerful the closer they get. So this is cool. I mean, now it looks like we have a whole different troop choice, and you get the support turret, which looks like it's their version of a heavy weapon in the squad, which people have been wanting forever, but they're doing it in a unique way. It's something that only we've seen with Tau. They get their support turret, kind of like the support platform for Eldar. I think it's really neat.
Yeah, no, I think that's really cool, and I'm excited that they're throwing in another troop unit if it is a troop. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, you're right. It may be an elite or something like that, but if you can put a smart missile system on every unit of Fire Warriors, unless they change the rules for the smart missile system, orcs everywhere, just a little green mushroom just dropped into their britches. That's very scary for you old orcs, and for a lot of armies too. Dark Eldar are also like, oh my god.
Mother of goodness.
I think it's very exciting though. Can't wait to see the rules on all this stuff. And then how about this Tau terrain? Everyone has been wanting to see Xenos terrain in the game forever, and now here we go. Not only is it to the quality level that we would expect, but the rules look really cool too. Have you had a chance to check any out of the rumor rules, Frankie?
I haven't checked out any of the rules, but I've seen some of the cool pictures.
So it looks brilliant.
Big.
Yeah. So it's called the Tidewall Rampart, supposedly, and it comes with a twin-linked railgun, 4 detachable drones, and defensive lasers. Holy shit.
Lasers.
Yeah. It looks super cool. It's a bit expensive, but it looks like it's a really big terrain kit. And you can take each individual element of it as a separate terrain piece, or you can take it as like a terrain formation. It looks so cool. I can't wait to get, I hope we continue to see more Xenos terrain. How awesome would it be to get Eldar terrain? How awesome would it be to get Orc terrain, Tyranid terrain, Chaos? I mean, let's do it. Come on, G-Dub. Feed the machine. We all want it.
Yeah, take it to the next level.
And then
it's really cool. They'll be killing it if they make some terrain pieces.
Yeah, and dude, twin-linked railguns, depending on the points level, and like, what if they give it like Skyfire or something like that, like a quad gun? You're like, oh shit. I mean, that would be pretty good for ye old Tau.
Yeah, hopefully you can use marker lights.
Oh yeah, hopefully. Says the guy who just invested in some new flyers for his Imperial Guard army. But the other rumor, the last rumor, is that there's a new campaign book coming out for Tau also. And the rumors are indicating that it's going to be somewhat like the Shield of Balls or Leviathan. So it could be a box set with plastic models in it. And the rumors are indicating that it's going to be Raven Guard versus Tau, and true to form, the new models in the kit that are exclusive to the kit are a new Ethereal and a new captain for the Raven Guard, which obviously you can be a captain for generic Space Marines. So they incentivize you to buy these kits because they give you models you can only get in the kit. In the past we had Gruk Face Ripa and Crom Dragon Gaze, etc. So pretty cool. And then the other thing that we usually like to see in these campaigns, besides the campaign itself, is that you get pretty cool formations in there too. So be cool to see that. Space Marine formations and Tau formations. I hope they're fun.
Heck yeah, dude. I'm so excited for all the new formations and stuff that we're going to be seeing. Like, because it's so boring seeing the Firebase cadre everywhere.
Yeah. I don't think you'll not see the fire. I mean, it's funny because the very first formation they came out with was the Firebase cadre, which is what made people react so strongly because it's so powerful. It's still one of the best formations in the game. you could probably argue that outside of like War Convocation, it's probably the most powerful formation. And it was the first one, which is what scared the pants off people so much. But, largely people have accepted formations at this point in time. And I'm really excited to see what kind of Decurion detachment they get. Those have been a lot of fun. Really excited to see what kind of formations they get. And like I said, I'm fingers crossed. I'm hoping they get a way to deal with Death Stars. I really, really hope that. I don't know how GW would do it, but we'll see what they get. But this is exciting. Tower getting a lot of love. And I think it's really interesting because last time we had a Tower release, that was when we had the dramatic shortages, right? Like GW did not plan well for that release. And it was like they didn't expect it to do as well as it did, obviously, because we couldn't get a hold of any of the models for months. It looks like this time they're like, okay, we're ready. Oh yeah, Tal's popular. We're gonna give him some love here. So
yeah, hopefully they're prepared because then they did the same thing with Chaos. They just kept running out of stuff.
Yeah, Eldar too. There's still things that are out for Eldar, and that release was months ago. So
yeah, God.
So here we go, rant session. We haven't had a rant session forever. This is going to be a baby rant, minor rant. Someone put up a scale picture of the Tau Supremacy suit, the Tau Titan. And we had some people that were mad at us for calling it the Tau Titan. And here's a picture of it next to the Riptide. It's literally 3 times as big, at least, if not 4 times as big. Yeah.
It's gargantuous.
It's a Titan, guys. Come on, let's be real here.
The corn mower.
Huge. Yeah, and this thing probably, if you measure to the tips of the guns, it is probably as big as my Revenant Titan here, which I never get to use because he's so insanely powerful. Or it's probably on par with the Warhound, possibly the Warlord. Maybe probably not the Warlord. The Warlord's a small child, but
yeah, Warlord's gargantuous.
It's ridiculous. But the thing is, it's clearly meant to be in that same category as units like the Revenant here. So That's funny that Mariana put that out. And it just happened to work out. But you know what, though? That model is amazing.
Yeah.
God, that thing looks cool.
Model's sick.
Yeah, it is so sick. Rules lawyer. So to submit your rules question, just go to the ITC rules submission questionnaire at the ITC tab at frontlinegaming.org. And we will read them out online. And we use these as a means to see what is popular, what is a pertinent question in the community. C. Galliard asks, does my fortification benefit from the War Convocation free stuff rule? We've been getting this one a lot. So this clearly needs to go into the FAQ because it keeps getting asked. Yeah. So by raw, I would say that you have a really strong case on this. But I think because of the implications of this means, if we do say, yeah, is it opens up the door to any other rule that affects a detachment would affect your fortification, and it gets bizarre because also in the War Convocation, every model in the Skitarii Maniple detachment, which is a part of that formation, which is where the fortification goes, gets scout. So then by raw, you could scout move a fortification or outflank a fortification, which is obviously insane. Right?
I like it. I think you should be able to outflank it.
Yeah, so I think the way we're going to have to rule this is that a fortification is not a unit in your army until you start the game, right? The rulebook says it's like if it's in your list, you start out the game controlling it. But I think the only way that we're going to be able to interpret this and have it not create weird rules dilemmas is by saying, yeah, this does not count as a unit in your army until the game starts. Because otherwise it's bizarre. Because if you scout a building, you could put a unit inside it and first turn charge out of it, because you can charge out of a building.
That would be sick.
Yeah, I know. It's like, just think about that. Like, just think about the implication. Just think about just how dumb it is to scout move a building in the first. Oh, here's my Fortress of Redemption. And it's now in the middle of the table, full of my guys. You know.
The building would scout 12 too.
Yeah, and then I can't remember if it would or not, but think about it. Like, you could fill it up with your whole army, scout move it, and then they all jump out right in front of the other person's army. It's just, what do you do? Move the terrain out? It's like, come on, this is dumb. And then on a just kind of like a personal note, on a fairness note, War Convocation, hey guys, you don't need to reach, you already get so much free stuff.
Yeah.
You really don't need to get another 200 points of free upgrades on a fortification. You already have a top tier list. Be happy. So I think that's the way we're gonna have to rule fortifications. Otherwise, it creates bizarre situations. And who knows what's coming out down the line with detachment-wide special rules that could somehow be applied to a fortification to do bizarre shit.
Yeah, it could get crazy or something.
Yeah, let's just say that they're their own thing. Because, during the course of the game, your opponent can take it over, right? So it's, at any rate, I think that that's how we're going to have to go on that. Thornwalker asks, if I take a flyer in the Raven Wing Strike Force detachment, then must everything go into reserves? And if so, do I automatically lose the game on turn 1? Because they all automatically come in. Yes. The rules for that detachment say that everything either must start on the board or must start in reserve. The flyer cannot start on the board, so then you must go into reserves, and then you don't have anything on the table until turn 2. You auto lose the game on turn 1. Does that seem crazy? Yes, it does. This is the first time this has happened. No, it's not. You need to put something else on the table.
Yeah.
But your whole army automatically comes in on turn 2, and then they get to jink, and they get to come in and jink, but then they can shoot normally in the next turn. It's really powerful.
Yeah, no, it's super powerful, but it's so funny that they made it to where you auto lose.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yep. Thornwalker also asks, if I take a Land Raider dedicated transport for the Deathwing detachment in the Deathwing Strike Force, does that mean that it deep strikes as well? If this is the only detachment that I take, do I automatically lose the game on turn 1 if everything is in reserves? If I take a character, does they get the deep strike too? The answer to all those questions is yes, right? So that says everything in this attachment deep strikes, right? It's granting them that USR, including the dedicated transports. And yes, again, if you reserve everything, you do lose the game on turn 1.
So awesome.
Pro tip: don't do it. So I mean, and then if you read the fluff on these, they're meant to be taken in conjunction with other units in the Dark Angels book, like the Deathwing one. It's like you don't have to roll if you have a Ravenwing unit on the table. So clearly, it's like you're supposed to have Ravenwing units on the table. They're scouting for the Deathwing. They call them in. If you want to play them all by themselves, you better have something on the table, or you're gonna have a really short and unsatisfactory game.
Yeah.
Kind of like dating. Never mind. Can the Blood Oath campaign formation be used in the ITC? Yes. B. Berman says, I think you guys are wrong on how you read the mastery level and number of psychic powers you can cast issue. Dependent does not mean equal to. This comes up quite a bit, and every time you have a contentious ruling, you have people that voice their opinion. Mr. Berman was polite about it, so thank you for that. Yeah, I agree with you, and Frankie and I have talked about this a lot. I agree with you that dependent does not mean equal to. You're right, it doesn't. But if you took 10 people and said, here's this rule, and it says the number of powers that you can cast is dependent on your mastery level, I would be willing to bet money 9 out of 10 people would say that the conclusion they would draw is that it's a 1-to-1 ratio, right? Because it just makes sense, right? It's the reasonable next step. It's not explicit, but it is the reasonable next step. And the counter argument is that, okay, if you're saying that the dependency does not mean equal to, therefore it's infinite, you can cast as many powers as you want, that means there's no dependency whatsoever, right? So using just logic, the answer that is closer to dependency is a 1-to-1 ratio versus no ratio at all, right? Then there's no dependency at all. I've heard other people try to make the argument that it's dependent on the number of powers that you have, which is then dependent on your mastery level. But again, you're extrapolating further out from what the rule says. So this is something that we could look at voting on. I really don't care that much personally, but to me, the most clear answer to what is a muddy situation is that it is a 1-to-1 ratio. So let us know what you guys think.
I mean, like you said, yeah, dependent doesn't mean that it's a 1-to-1 ratio, right? Fair enough. But, that's the most logical thing. It's either it's a 1-to-1 ratio, or what is it? It's 8-to-1?
Yeah,
is it
100 to
1?
Yeah.
No, 1-to-1 makes the most sense.
Right, it's the most reasonable conclusion. And then if you're saying, if you say like, oh, it doesn't mean equal to, therefore it means nothing, well, that's not right either.
But they can't cast anything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Since they don't tell us how it's dependent, you can't powers, right? Like that's just as logical of a conclusion as saying that there's no dependency whatsoever, right? So again, it's GW does not write good rules. They just don't. That's not their focus. They assume the players will come to a conclusion on their own at the table, or they could always just 4-up it. But yeah, I think that the closest to the closest answer to being, using logic and what is reasonable is that it is a 1-to-1 ratio. I know that's not what some people wanted, but
it makes sense too on like how the game used to be played. You used to have a certain amount of psychic powers that you had, right? Like each psyker, like Eldrad, he would have like 3 powers, I think. You could cast all 3 of those powers, but that was it. You couldn't cast each one multiple times or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Eldrad had a special rule where you could do one twice, but for the most part, most characters could not do more than one of their powers each time. So it's like.
And then the counter argument is people are like, well, that's the old rules. This is the new rules. Well, don't forget, guys. The guys writing this rule book also wrote the last rule book, so they've got that in their mind too. So at any rate, feel free to voice your opinion. But looking at the information that we have, I think that is the conclusion that most people would draw. B. Vaughn asks, does the Sanctuary Heirloom combined with the High King of the Exalted Court detachment for Imperial Knights result in a 3++ Ion Shield and a 5++ on all other facings? Yes. And then it would also combine with something like Forewarning. If you put Forewarning on the Knight, which you couldn't do unless you're playing a very large game, because that is a detachment that requires you to have 5 Knights. But if you could somehow, you would then have a 3++ on all facings. Yeah, really good. And you would only ever see that in a Knight army, which I know Mr. Vaughn personally, and I know that's what he plays. So.
His new Knight army is sick too.
He did really well with the No Mercy GT. He made it into the finals.
Yeah.
Okay, completed commissions. We just completed a very cool Poison Dart themed Tyranny commission, and this obviously for the Poison Dart frog in the Amazon jungle. This is a beautiful commission. This is Thomas and his wife. Thomas used to paint with Blue Table Painting. They now paint for Frontline Gaming. Really happy to have them. Friends, great people, great artists. And they made a really cool video. Really happy to see this. Check it out. If you want to get your next commission painted with Frontline Gaming, go to frontlinegaming.org, go to the painting section. Give this video a look, and this is gives you an idea of the quality that you get from Frontline Gaming. It's very high quality paint jobs, and we also have very aggressive pricing. So definitely give it a look.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. I really like the video too.
They did a great job with that video. I really like it.
Yep.
Also, we wanted to give a big thank you to our friends that came and joined us to do the shoutcasting this Saturday, and to everybody that tuned in to watch it. Again, we had some technical difficulties, but everyone that watched it said that having the shoutcasters made the game so much more enjoyable to watch. And that's definitely going to be the way forward. So thank you guys so much for joining us, your champions, and we're definitely going to continue to work on that because we think that is the best way to go about doing it. List for review. All right, we got Dark Angels CAD plus the Dark Angels Librarius Conclave. So we've got the Ravenwing Strike Force, Interrogator Chaplain on a bike with Auspex and Eye of the Unseen. One Ravenwing bike squad of 3 with 2 Flamers, another Ravenwing bike squad of 3 with 2 Melter Guns, a Ravenwing Dark Shroud with the Assault Cannon, a Ravenwing Command squad of 5 with the Champion, Apothecary, and Ravenwing Missile Launcher.
I don't know what that is.
I was like, what?
Oh, they're not on a bike. That's why.
Gotcha.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I actually am drawing a blank. What the hell is that?
I don't know. No idea.
I'm going to assume when you say Ravenwing Command Squad that he's talking about the Black Knights. Because that's the only way that you get Apothecary and a Missile Launcher. I think maybe that's just a typo. Anyway, keep going. CAD. Tech Marine with a Circle Harness, a Scout Squad of 5 with Camo Cloaks and Sniper Rifles, a Tactical Squad of 5 with 1 Las Cannon, a Devastator Squad of 5 with 4 Missile Launchers with Flak Missiles, and an Armorium Cherub. He's got the Melt-A-Bomb baby in space.
Get him, baby.
He's got a unit of 5 Deathwing Knights and a Land Raider Redeemer with a Multi-Melta and extra armor, and a Dark Angels Librarius Conclave with Ezekiel, and then 2 level 2 Librarians on bike. Oh, he has 1 Librarian level 2 on bike with Mace of Redemption and another with Foe Smiter. It's a cool list.
Smiter. Yeah, it's interesting. My first critique is you don't have a whole lot of firepower.
No, he does not.
firepower will be a little difficult. You have kind of a little Death Star, I guess.
We've got the Ravenwing Command Squad with the 2 librarians that roll with them and can buff them up. They have all kinds of good psychic powers. He's got Ezekiel on foot. I'm assuming he goes with the Deathwing Knights and the Land Raider Redeemer. It's pretty good. Ezekiel's actually pretty freaking solid.
Yeah. Ezekiel has to go in the Dark Angels Librarian Conclave. You have to take it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Right. And then he's got the Deathwing Knights, which are pretty good. Redeemer. You got the Land Raider. It's a high-risk unit. It's very expensive, can be blown up in one shot. Land Raiders are one of those units that when they do well, they do great. When they do poorly, they get blown up on the very first turn with the very first shot. So yeah, this is a good list. I like it. You've got a lot of mobility. You've got the Ravenwing Strike Force, which is an awesome detachment. They can all choose to automatically come in on turn 2, turbo boost on, but also shoot normally on the next turn. Black Knights, one of the best units in the game.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Black Knight is sick.
Can't go wrong. And then the Interrogator Chaplain with the Auspex with them is a great combo. This is an interesting list. I would say this isn't like a tier 1 hardcore list, but I think it'd be a really fun army to play with and against.
Well, I would definitely agree with you, but I think the Cherub Baby takes it to tier 1, so I think he's got this.
Yeah, Melted Bomb Space Baby.
To the next level.
So weird, but so cool. And then again, Devastator Squad with 4 missile launchers, flak missiles. I'm just not a fan of flak missiles. They're too weak.
No, too expensive.
The only unit that I will ever make a case that, okay, consider it, is with Fists or Crimson Fist because they have Tank Hunter.
Maybe. You're still paying 25 points.
It's just, the missile launcher should just come with it.
Yes.
Like, it's a strength 7, it's a single shot strength 7 AP4 attack. It's not going to do jack squat to a flying monstrous creature. It's not going to do jack squat to a flying vehicle. You need like 10 of them to do anything to anybody. So I am not a fan of that unit. I think it's just too many points for the take another 2 units of scouts almost, which would be better in almost all situations.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting list. On the whole, I think it looks like it's a lot of fun. I think that's a list that would be really fun to play with and against. All right. Who's got questions for us? All right. What's up, everybody in the chat? Can't quite read it. Let's see.
Primarch, Seraphius. Was there a limit on the Marine CT combinations?
What do you mean by that?
I have no idea.
Do you mean, did that vote pass? No, it failed. It was very close. There's only a 5% variance. So yeah, all of you that are playing the Super Friends Death Stars, you're good to go. Nothing has changed for you.
Avros CF, are all massive fortifications banned or only the Vortex and Cannon Aquila strong points? Basically, he's asking, is like the Plasma Obliterator allowed?
That one's tough. It has 2 different sets of rules floating around. So
yeah,
there's rules for it in the White Dwarf. There's rules for it in its box. I think, and I can't remember if it's not a Strength D weapon. It's
not Strength 7.
It's Strength 7 AP2 7-inch blast, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It'd probably be okay. It's just it's hard to get your hands on the rules. I'll have to go Google through that one and see if I can find it. But yeah, we'll get that up on the list of approved or banned fortifications today. I've had a couple people ask about that. I don't have the rules handy.
AK Shell, is the Orc Squigoth considered an open-top vehicle for purposes of hitting the models inside with flamers?
I think it's only considered open-top for the purposes of assaulting.
Yeah. But I'd have to actually look at the rules. So.
Go ahead and read the next question, buddy.
All right. Zenit Slav. So do you guys see the new Crisis suit and Commander rumored pictures?
Ooh, no, I did not.
I've seen the Commander suit. The Commander suit looks pretty sick. He looks way better than he did before.
Ha! Poor Gargantuan Squigoth. A Gargantuan Squigoth is treated as an open-topped, super heavy vehicle for the purposes of transport. Wah, wah, wah. So yeah, flamers would hit the guys inside. That sucks. Because the Gargantuan Squigoth is actually a really good way to deliver orc units into combat.
Yeah, he's super good.
Yeah, because he moves 12 inches. Thing is, what most people do is put Mega Knobs in there with Mad Dog. So flamethrowers typically don't do anything to them anyway.
Yeah. DK Xylophone. Did you ever give your thoughts on the report from GW to its stockholders posted on Facebook?
No, we did. I don't know. Like, I feel like it speaks for itself. You know, like they are not pretending to be anything other than a profit-driven corporation that delivers dividends to their shareholders. And they've identified that in their minds that the way that they do that is by pumping out models.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty black and white. I mean, you don't really need to say anything about it. That's what they said. They're like, yeah, we don't want to support tournaments or anything like that. I mean, only 5% of our, or was it? Yeah, it was 5%. 20%. There you go.
They said that
20%
only
play the game.
I would like, I'm like, please show me how you came to that. Like, what data did you use to make that determination? How the hell do you determine that only 20% of your customers play the game? Like, to my knowledge, GW hasn't done any kind of customer polling or feedback since the 90s. So, where are you getting that from? Like, anecdotally? Like at a GW store, do 8 out of 10 people, or do 4 out of 5 people come in, buy the models, and then go, I'm just going to go home and paint this and never play with it? Because in my experience as a gamer, now as retailers and online retailers and people that engage in news and community interaction, that it has been the opposite that's been the case. Like, Frankie, haven't you felt that way too, that it's more like 20% of the people don't play and only collect?
I don't even know if I'd give them 20%. I'd say maybe 5%. Like, I mean, most people that I talk to or play against, or, I mean, even people that email us in, like, they all play. It's just a matter of how often do they play. There's a lot of people that buy models and may only get in like 1 or 2 games a year, but I mean, they still play the game. And that's why they're buying the models. If they didn't play the game, they wouldn't be buying the models.
Yeah, totally. And I was talking to Carl Tuttle about it from the Independent Characters, and like, where Frontline Gaming is more oriented towards like tournament play, organized play, you know, narrative play, stuff like that. Carl and his audience are more oriented towards modeling, painting, the fluff, and then playing occasionally. And he was saying he does know people that only collect, and they have big collections where they have like, one gentleman that I spoke to, he's like, I have like 10,000 points of Blood Angels, only Blood Angels. I have everything in duplicates, and it's all painted. And he's like, I almost never play.
Fair enough.
So I mean, there are people out there like that, but I can't believe, I have so much trouble believing that it's that vast majority, that it's 80% of the customer base, and then of those people that just buy models to collect and paint, that they make as big of an investment as the ones that play. Because the people I know that play, they're buying shit constantly, like us. Like, we're just as addicted as everybody else. I have like 20, not that many. I have like 9, 10 armies that are big.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, my whole thing on it is, okay, if you're going to buy and collect models, right, you're going to want to get like the best looking models. And there are plenty of like one-off models and stuff out there that they can go buy that look way better than GW models. Like, why would you be buying GW models just to have them on your shelf?
well, people that really love the fluff, I could see that. Like, say like you really love the Horus Heresy novels. You're like, man, this is so cool. And you want to make a company of your favorite Space Wolves or something like a great company. And so you know, and then you model each guy to, you know, and then maybe you only play once every couple months. Maybe that's what they're talking about. I still don't think that's the majority of their customers, but who knows? They have access to information that we don't. They make decisions based on what they think is the best thing for their company. So they think they're doing the right thing. And you know, at the end of the day, I think that they may also go, our customers modify the game anyway. Let's just give them the ability to do that. Because both 40K 7th edition and Age of Sigmar are basically a sandbox game. That's why so many people are like, oh, this is so terrible, blah, blah, blah. It's because GW is saying basically do whatever you want with the models. We actually don't care that much. You know?
Yep.
They're like, just buy the models. Here's some rules, do what you want. So at any rate, we had a question from the Clincher. Someone new to Tyranids, is there any way to build a viable Gene Stealer based list? So the Clincher, I feel your pain. I have like 50, 60 Gene Stealers, almost all painted. And the only way I have come up with to make Gene Stealers even viable, I haven't tried it yet, it's just theoretical. There's the formation in the first set of Gene Stealer formations that came out. It's called like the Manufactorum Gene Stealers. It's 5 units of 5 Gene Stealers that have hit and run. and they can also infiltrate closer than 12 inches if they're in a building to enemy units. You can't add any additional Gene Stealers to the units, but you can add a Broodlord to the unit. So you could take 5 units of 5 Gene Stealers that have hit and run, that each have a Broodlord, and that, I think, could work, maybe.
It might be able to work. I don't think it's gonna work, but
it's not going to be a top tier army, but I think it's like that's literally the only way I can think of to use Gene Stealers and have it be decent.
yeah.
Because the Gene Stealers are a delivery vehicle for the Broodlord. You give the Broodlord poison, you give them scything talents for the extra attack. Each one of them is a psyker, so they'll generate extra dice. You know, they're really good in close combat. That's pretty much the only way I can think of to make them work. And then you take, of course, a bunch of Flyrants and the usual shit, and you might be able to make a competitive list with Gene Stealers in it.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of which, there's rumors that the Gene Stealer Cult mini codex is coming out, and that's where that rumored new rule for Synapse is coming from, where they get Eternal Warrior, Feel No Pain. And if that's true, then what I just talked about, having a bunch of Broodlords would be really good, because a Broodlord with Feel No Pain and Eternal Warrior is a beast.
Yeah, that's not half bad.
No, not bad. All right. Any other ones you see on there, Frankie?
Really.
Let's see.
There was one about the Gazgul wall. Let's see.
Okay, we got a question about Gazgul's wall. Let me see.
Oh, here we go. Cuddly Piggy. Can you bring a dread mob to fulfill requirements within the Great Wall detachment?
Which dread mob? I think, if I remember correctly, there's 2 rules. There's one Forge Rules dread mob that's up on their website, and then there's the Killer Can formation. And so, could you take that to fulfill the requirements for the Great Wall? I don't understand what the question is.
Yeah, I guess there's some kind of requirement inside the Great Wall detachment. You just wonder if you can bring the dread mob to fill that gap.
Well, any formation from that book is from the Great Wall. They take their war gear from the Great Wall. They take their warlord traits from the Great Wall. They take the mob rule, the changes to the mob rule from that book. So yeah, I guess I don't think I understand the question.
Oh, the Forge World one.
The one from Forge World.
Zard Snark.
Zard Snark's not. I know it's confusing. Zard Snark is not in the Dread Mob. His rules are just attached to that at the last page for some weird reason. He's not. I don't even think you could take him in the Dread Mob. He's an independent data slate that just so happens to be in the same PDF as the Dread Mob rules. As for the Dread Mob rules themselves, could you take that in the Great Wall? No, it's the only things that can be taken out of that can use anything in the Great Wall detachment book are those formations and detachments in that book.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's confusing, I know, but the new 7th ed books are way more streamlined in how they work in that way. It's a lot more clear on how to use them.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all we got.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us. Frankie, thanks for calling in. I hope you're enjoying your time up in Northern California.
Yes, sir.
Go punch Fat J Sleaze and the Dingus for me when you have a chance to stop by the shop.
Oh, did you catch The Walking Dead last night?
Of course I did.
We'll do that before we get off.
Pretty good.
Was sick.
Pretty good, man. The army of Walking Dead that accumulated in the quarry pit, that was pretty cool, man. I'm excited. They started the season off with a bang. I'm stoked.
Yeah, this season's gonna be sick.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, make sure to get in your pre-order for the new Ghost Kill and anything else that you're looking for in the TAL release. Again, that's orders at frontlinegaming.org or call 888-781-5120. Get your LVO tickets too. And Frankie, always a pleasure.
Yep. All right, guys.
Talk to you later.